Hello everybody, it's another Saturday and it's another weekly update from the Ottawa Supermileage team. Sadly, I left my camera at home when we went to school, so I'm afraid I don't have any footage of Lee's or the team meeting that happened this morning, but I'm here in the garage and we're making some more steering components, so I thought we'd talk about that a bit more. On a side note, we got some funding from the Engineering Endowment Fund, which is great, but it was a little bit short of what we ultimately wanted, so the travelling to the competition might become a little bit tricky, and there might be a little bit of a carpooling and skinging on hotel rooms and stuff like that, just to get to the competition to compete. But anyway, let's talk about some steering. So I've got here the little test jig, and I've finished the other half of the spindles. So you can see there's the right hand side and here's the left hand side. And I've got one of the steering arms mounted, so we can see that that would induce steering into that spindle. Induce steering, it's bad terminology, but anyway. But I thought this video I should talk a bit more about the design and various ideas put into the steering. One very easy thing to see is that the rod ends are staggered to each other. Now this, if anyone's familiar with car steering and suspension, is called kingpin inclination, and it's to get the steering axis to pierce through the contact patch of the tire when it's on the ground. Now this helps reduce the braking torque. So, or say hypothetically, if I were to apply the brakes, there'd be a rearward force somewhere about here, but at the contact patch. So if these were vertical, there would be a rotating torque on the steering. But since the axis goes through the contact patch, there is no moment arm, so there's no braking torque. So if we lose steering halfway through the race, the wheel will stay straight. Also, the wheel is tilted, or the steering axis is tilted back slightly on the car. It'll be inclined to the rear. And this will make or mean that the drag force of the wheel has a moment arm on the axis, and that moment arm keeps the wheel straight in the direction of travel. So this is the caster effect. So we can see that there's a small amount of kingpin inclination and there's caster built on to make the steering a little bit safer. Also, which is very hard to see from this angle, is a small amount of camber. Now this is the sort of iconic leaning in of the tires that you would notice on a race car of any sort, and especially since the wheels we're using, which are now sitting up there, are not very much built for lateral loads. Camber is crucial on the wheels to keep the wheels structural, and the heater has just come on, which is a bit of a pain, so I might have to cut this video a little bit short, but I hope that was instructional in some way. I'm sure these will get a bit more scripted in the future, but there's some of the ideas that were put into the steering. Not all of them, and maybe when the heater goes off I'll film something else. A part 2. Hell, let's do it.